Welcome everyone to the latest episode of the Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a video game bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, aka the Godfather.
I'm Christian, aka Sudoku45.
I'm Preston, aka Funkadelic Jedi.
Alex, I thought yawn train there.
I was gonna say when you started, I thought you were gonna end up introducing all three of us as like sleepy, drowsy, and whatever. Like some.
I know. I don't just yawn, dude. Yawns are wild.
They are
like how the reflexive response you get. You can like even contagious to dogs, right? So like if I'm yawning and Bash looks at me, he then yawns. It's so weird. Anyway, so welcome everybody. So this week,
Yawncast.
The Yawncast. This week we are going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to cover our spoopy video games rather than just our general weekly update, because we all finished those coming in recording-wise the day before Halloween. You will hear this about 5 days after Halloween.
You got it.
But still. But yeah, we're recording this day before.
But we're not late, you're late.
Yeah, we're not late, you're late. But don't forget later this week to check back, as we are also going to do our final part. Our final part of Metal Gear Solid.
Solid 4.
Alex will be telling you all what you will be playing.
Yeah.
Which he's going to think about while Preston and I are talking about our spooky games. I will say, I'm going to make an executive decision here. And I know I said that we would wait until the end of Revengeance to do like the overall, give our rankings of like the four. But even though Revengeance is my favorite, I will say for Snake's Journey, this is obviously the end.
Well, it is a
right?
Metal Gear
That's not
game.
an executive decision. That's what Preston and I said last week we should do.
Preston didn't say it. Like, you said it, and I said no, but I'm bringing
Preston
it back.
agreed.
So.
Preston agreed, though. I said it, and Preston's like, yeah, we can do it next week.
Because Preston's favorite is also my favorite. I was editing
this exact thing a couple minutes ago, and yes, I was like, yeah, we can do it then. And like, over Revengeance, I'm like, okay. And I said, Preston, it's like a Metal Gear game. I'm like, yeah. It sure is.
I mean, it is.
It is. You're not wrong. But
I maintain that. I will say, from a story and writing perspective, it is just as wacky and as insane as any Metal Gear game.
I think it's unfair to put Rising up against these other Metal Gear games, because it is just overall the best game out of all of them, and it's a very different game as far as like how you play.
Well, and you said it right. This is Snake's Journey.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to do this. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So we'll give everybody's rankings here at the end, and I might have to revisit mine. We'll see. So we'll do that at the end of this, or at the end of that episode as well. So you see that there.
Cool. Well, before we dive in, Preston, we'll go ahead. We will check in with a comment corner. You didn't even look, did you? You were like, "We're gonna do spoopy games." I'm not.
Oh no, I have the comment corner. I'm shaking my head because you started yawning again. So I'm like, "Don't you start that shit?" Because I gotta do the comment corner. One comment in from Jake. I've said it a bunch, but thank you guys for repping Comic HQ merch. All three of you do, and it's so dope. Yeah, no, guys, don't forget to check out Comic HQ.
And Two Worlds Podcast, baby.
And Two Worlds Podcast, yep. Don't forget to check out comichqstl.com if you're in the South County area of St. Louis. Hit them up. They're off that South Lindbergh. But yeah, that is the only comment we got. Thank you, Jake. But real quick, before we go into our spoopy games coming out in November. Now, we got a good handful of them. I don't know 90% of these. So, I'm going to go if the name sounds cool or interesting or just something I want to say out loud. I'm going to go for it, but we'll go there. All right. In November 3rd is Tales of Old Dominus. That's PC only. You have Football Manager 26. Comes out on pretty much everything. November 4th. I like the name of this one.
That game... That is literally just you're a coach of a soccer team sim.
It's just a sim, yeah.
You don't play.
Yeah.
You can watch when you watch the game. You don't even watch players. You watch dots on the field.
Yeah,
move
it's like simulated.
Arrows.
Yes, it's literally
one of the highest rated. Like not rated because I don't know how high rated it is, but like it's one of the top selling games every year.
It prints money
Soccer fans are insane people.
And it is,
That's
and it
why.
is literally, it is not far off of just being a fucking spreadsheet.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, with some graphics. I downloaded for iPad last year and was like, I'm gonna play this, and I played it for like 2 days, and I was like, I can't.
No.
I don't even understand it. Like, I understand tactics, but they're everything. It's like, how are we gonna practice today? And then it's like, oh, somebody got injured. Now you have to fill this out. Like, oh, you're having contracts come through. You have to. It's not just like a goofy. Do you want to sign this player? It's like a legit sports contract coming. It's insanity. Soccer fans are crazy.
Next one up, November 4th as well, going up against Football Manager, is Master Lemon: The Quest for Iceland. It's coming out in consoles and PC.
Right on.
Okay.
Got one here for Alex. Cairn comes out on November 5th. That's on PS5 and PC only. The Fable manga build roguelike comes out on Switch and PC November 5th. And Preston wants good numbers from this one. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment comes out on Switch 2 November 6th. And then after that, so same thing on November 6th, we got Unbeatable. This is the Preston's highly anticipated rhythm game. It's got a hell of a lot of style. I really like the demo. It had a fuck ton of songs on it. I played through a bunch of those. I'm super excited to get into it and see how the story is, but it looks good. It's going to be a great rhythm game. I'll take a look at this trailer later on. This one's called A Pizza Delivery. Comes out on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC November 7th. Ambrosia Sky Act 1 comes out on PC November 10th. Luminous Arise comes out on PS5 and PC November 11th.
That's my anticipated rhythm game.
Yeah.
I just love how you said one of those games a second ago, and Christian just gave one of these looks of like, that's a video game.
Nope,
Like pizza delivery or something. Like you totally shook your head like, oh yeah, no, pizza delivery. Like, yeah, I get it.
Hey, look, man. There is a game that is making so much money right now, like as one of those little gotcha things called what is it? Uma Mama Mase Derby, Pretty Derby or something like that.
The horse racing game where
the horse racing game. So guess what? A pizza delivery. It's an all right name.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, remember, I'm skipping some of these that are just either weird. Like Dinkum comes out on November 5th as well on Switch and PC. I'm like, I have no idea what that fucking game is.
That is apparently, you know what's funny about that is that game is apparently one of the largest game Animal Crossing likes is so popular. It's based in Australia, I think. And they have some weird stuff going on in there. But yeah, Dinkum is apparently, it's coming out on a new console, which is why it's here. But it's been out for a while, I guess. And it is made like $1 bazillion. Mm-hmm. People love that fucking game. It's a horrible name, but sure, people love it.
Maybe it means something in another language. Who knows? As far as
Australian,
I don't know. I have no idea, dude. We have a bunch of other games here. I don't recognize these. Going up to November 14th, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 launches, continuing the foibles of Raul Menendez.
The Menendez saga.
The Menendez saga. Escape from Tarkov comes out on PC November 15th. I guess it's coming out of early access. I've heard about that game for a while.
I think so. I just realized we should start calling Black Ops the Menendez Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, the Menendez series. We got Solo Leveling Arise Overdrive November 17th. Deadpool VR comes out in the Quest November 18th. Demon School comes out on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC November 19th.
So how are those anime games?
Yes.
One Piece, Solo Leveling, all these they crank out video games all the time.
You always got a game for it for sure. Yeah.
But they're not like AAA titles like we think of in the West.
A lot of them are area battlers, those games arena battlers.
Okay,
they're arena fighters.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. A lot of times, got it. I was gonna say, how do they
almost
do those
exclusively?
things?
Yeah, all My Hero ones were that way. All the Naruto ones are that way. Yeah,
it's literally so the way they do it is they're all made the exact same way. So they just that rigging is probably copy and pasted almost, and they're just okay, we're just gonna make them do new things. Mm-hmm. So Luffy will do Luffy's moves versus Naruto doing Naruto's moves, but like they play the exact same
Now, as
way.
far as solo leveling is concerned, I mean, like, you got the main character who's a badass, and there's kind of some other badasses here and there, but even after season 2, I don't know how many characters you would have, so maybe this is a little bit more story-based. I would have to take a look. But just the way that show goes, it's like, you got your protagonist, and everyone else is kind of like...
They could make it like a hack and slash thing.
Yeah, it could be. Never know. Might check it out. I did like the show. Okay. Let's see here. Demio Cross Dungeon. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been playing Ball Pit. We don't have to say that. Demio Dungeons and Dragons Battle Marked PC, November 20th. Kirby Air Riders comes out on Switch 2, November 20th. Bro, I watched the fucking hour-long presentation they had on that. There is so much in that fucking game. Holy shit. They're bringing the original Kirby Air Riders with all updated maps and everything. Like, all that's being brought into this game. And all the different type of settings. They got like a top-down version of the game. They got like a battler version. It's just so much in this fucking game. It's like Smash Brothers.
Is there going to be a Switch 1? Is there going to be a Switch 1 version of that game?
Nope. It says Switch 2.
Damn you, Sakurai.
I know. We gotta wait till we finally cave in and get a Switch 2. I gotta wait until I finally cave in and get a Switch 2.
I'll just admire. I'll admire Kirby Air Riders from afar. Honestly, I'm just happy that Sakurai looks healthy again. That's what I'm happy about.
He seems happy, yeah.
Yeah, Alex, Preston is going to edit this out, so for the next few seconds, you're all just going to hear beeps. But Alex... I will not be acquiring a Switch 2. It can go fuck itself. So
Preston, you know what you should do?
And we're back.
If you leave this in and just bleep him out, you should put like a mosaic over what he held up.
You should blur it out. Just blur it out. You absolutely should. That would be very good.
Next up, we got R-Type Delta HD Boosted coming November 20th. Samurai Academy Paws of Fury coming out on the consoles and PC November 20th. Terminator 2D, No Fate, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And just because it's the last one of the month, Nano Neighbors on PCs coming out on November 27th.
That's Alex's game of the year, I think, Nano Neighbors.
You all can expect Alex to panic bid on whatever one sounds the best to finish out like the single spot on my roster before the end of the month. Mm-hmm. So just next week, you'll see a bid come through or a single game, and you're going to know who's bidding on it. So
I think I got one more spot.
And then Preston will take it just out of spite.
Yeah, we have one more spot left. So yeah. All right, but that's it. It's all the games for November.
Cool. All right. Well, then with that, let's get to our spoopy games.
Cue
right?
The spoopy music.
So we have. You are. Don't even add anything.
No, I'm gonna add stuff in it. I'm gonna leave that in as well.
Okay. So we played 3 separate games. Yeah. We're gonna talk a little bit about it. Who wants to go first on that?
I can go first.
I can go. Okay, yep, whatever. It does totally fine.
So I finished mine probably the most recently. So I finished that on the stream. Soma. It's a very good game. It's I wouldn't necessarily call it walking simulator. You do a lot of walking. There's no actual combat or anything like that, but you're going around, picking up clues, finding out what's going on in the world around you. Not to mention some narration from maybe a little device that you have with somebody inside of it. But essentially, it starts out with you. This guy named Simon, you start in his apartment. He's talking about, just got in a car accident, has to go to this doctor for like this test or like some, not experiment, but like some science thing they're doing. Science. And you find out that they're like kind of working on brain waves and stuff like that. And it goes to black. And then you are all of a sudden in this facility. You wake up, no one is around. It's very spooky. You find out it's underwater. And the more you play through the game, you find out that experiment or that like science thing that you went to go do with the doctors had found out a way to map out like your brain waves to get like your personality in there. Something much like we saw like in Alien Earth, to where, hey, we're gonna grab your personality, like you, and we're gonna put it into like a data form, and we're gonna put it into this body, so that way you can avoid death, things like that, and your persona can continue on. So you're walking around essentially in a robot body with your data.
Not to be confused with this character's fursona, which is not. In
yes,
this game.
exactly. We haven't heard about that one yet, but yeah. That would be a wild horror for a furry horror game. That'd be pretty fun.
All right, we need a mod. So, because I remember, Preston, there's a part in this game where you see the robot face. Imagine if he like looked in the mirror, and then it was like Sonic Fox's head.
Yeah, the furry head. Yeah. Like, oh shit! It's the only thing they had for me. I don't know what to tell
oh
you.
my god, did you turn me into a furry?
We ran out of suits, and this lady happened to have a furry suit because it's her thing, so we just used her furry suit.
Oh god.
But
you could replace all the robots that are like kill me or freaking out, and just make them like very hedonistic. Be like, oh, I love the pain. It's so good.
Yeah. Nope. So as you're going through this facility, you're finding out more and more about it. You're finding out that some of these robots are acting awfully real, as if like someone's talking through them. You end up finding out that this location was built because there was like a comet or something like that hit the Earth that caused it all to be like unlivable. So they're all living under here, and then it was just gonna be only a matter of time before the human race was probably gonna get wiped out due to like issues like chemicals and stuff like that. And not to mention there was this goo, they call it the WAU, WAU, that has just been kind of attaching itself to like plant life and animal, like the animals and stuff like that. It's also attaching itself to like computer stuff and humans, and essentially this goopy stuff has like caused them to be like, okay, we need to like, humanity's gonna die, like this is gonna take over, we have no way of fighting it. So what they were gonna do is take everyone's data information for the personalities, put it onto this little like device called the Ark, and just shoot that fucker into space. So that way humanity can continue on somewhere else. And that little Ark thing is like essentially the Matrix. So your data goes in there, and there's just like a little Matrix world. As you're going through, you're finding out that them implementing the experiments to upload the data, some of the people have gone a little, you say crazy, but like have like started like killing themselves afterwards. Like the only way you're going to make it into the Ark is if you kill yourself now after you've downloaded your data, because then you can't continue on. And when you get to a certain point in the game, it's like, hey, you got to get this pressurized suit. And you have like a little data card that has someone's personality on it who's like trying to finish the project. You're supposed to help them out because obviously they have nothing to do as far as walking around.
Oh, yeah, I remember this scene.
And you end up having to put yourself in the pressurized suit. You transfer your data over. When you transfer your data over, you're up in the suit, you're kind of walking around, and your other self is still in that containment room. Still alive. It's passed out, but it's still alive. So they give you an option. This is like one of the few times they give you options, and it doesn't affect the end of the game. None of these options affect the end of the game. There's no alternate endings. And you can either choose to kill your old self to keep them from like having to deal with, this post-apocalyptic, like, they have to live in this place now. Or
with all the monster horrors,
with all the monsters and shit.
They've been killing you.
Or you let them live. And that's where I'm like, well, do I want to give him a fighting chance? Like, hey, if I save him, maybe they can find a way to like do something else, or do I just end it? I ended up not killing him because I felt too bad about it. So I'm like, I can't do it. So I don't do that there.
But also, every machine you've come across like
wants to die.
Seems like it's been real. It wants to die. It's been real fucked up. So like,
yeah. And when you find a computer outside of Catherine, I think her name is, the one you have in data pad, everyone else like is like, you need to end me. You need to finish this off now. Like, we're done here. And you're starting to find like, I think the first like scary section, well, I guess the first scary section is the first level, to where it's like you see the robot walking around with that WoW growth on it, and it's kind of hunting you down. Mm-hmm. Get out of there. You start finding a little bit more psychological bullshit happening, to where like this is essentially called the Naked Man. He's the naked dude who has like this big, like, looks like a diving suit head with like glowing bits coming off of it. And he just ends up like popping up and showing up and like kind of like jump scaring you. And you end up getting to the facility he's in, and he is walking around there. He's trying to find you. That was probably the scariest point of the game for me at that point. But yeah, you're finding out all the fucked up shit that's happening in this facility. People killing themselves, people saying fuck this. And like, there's even one guy who just like, he's like, they locked me out. He's like, yeah, there's a virus or something like bad's happening in that facility, so they don't want to let anybody in. And he's like, I got like 10 minutes of air. He's like, fuck this. My fate's my own. I'm making the decision. And like you hear this whole thing of like him taking off the suit, like dying suffocation underwater. Like there's a lot of fucked up shit that happens, like a lot of psychological shit. And that's like one of the chat people, because I did this on stream, it's one of the chat people, like he's like, I really love how like the questions this game brings up. As far as like, is the data that you put into these other bodies, is that like, it comes to like the idea of the soul, right? It's like, is that you? To me, it's like at the end of this game, you have put yourself 4 different places. You got the original Simon, who's in his human form. You got the one that you show up with when you first like start the game on Soma or in that area. You got the third one, which is the one you in the pressure suit, and you got the fourth one, which is the one that you end up putting in the Ark and shooting off.
You're literally Voldemort, just Horcruxing your stuff at yourself.
Yeah. But there's no way to bring them together for like one final like bring yourself back, right? So it's really just you starting like a new chapter, but like you also have your other person there, which is why a lot of people were killing themselves because like, hey, I'm in here. Why am I still here? Kind of deal. And that was the first time you're like, oh, not the first time, the second time. No, sorry, the last time. The last time when you put yourself into the Ark and you shoot off into space, you end up waking back up and you're just down there where you're at the launch pad. Like, what the fuck? Why am I not up there? And like, she's like, I told you, like, this is, you put yourself up there. You're up there now, but you're still here. Just like the last, like, I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, you knew this already. Like, the last guy, you had to decide if you want to kill him or not. You are that guy now, Chuck. Like, that's just how it is. Like, you copied yourself again, and now this is another version of yourself that was left behind because the only way you could, quote unquote, escape is by putting your data into that Ark and shooting off into space. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening with the WoW, with all the growths. The only way you can heal in this game is you find the hole. So every once in a while, you got to just shove your fist in a hole. It's very organic. And it puckers up when you put your hand into it. It's a booty hole.
It's just
a WoW booty hole. Yes.
Yes.
But that heals you. But I also started to notice, like towards the end of the game, it started to fuck with things. So like if you use that, it's not like a multiple use thing. And not only that, but like it would like shut down power in certain areas. Like I did one of them, and like all of a sudden the power in that room was gone. I'm like, I don't fucking like this. So like unless I have to, I'm not going to use these. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of crazy stuff as far as like the whole psychological aspect of it. It's like, who is your real self at that point? And then you also had this weird, like, it was this man who like would pop up in your mind, like towards the second, third, to 2/3 of the way through the game. He'd pop up every once in a while. Only Catherine could see him, but Catherine couldn't hear him. So when you're going down the elevator down to the abyss, the guy is like, hey, you're doing great. You're doing exactly what I need. I'll make preparations down there. And it's all very spooky, but he's like not trying to hurt you like the other ones were. So I'm assuming that he is like the WoW manifest, or he's one of the scientists that like fully evolved and had like more control over his body maybe. Who knows? It did not get explained. But you're going all the way down there, and there's like, I think they call it like Site Alpha or something like that. But essentially it's like where the main hub of all this WoW is at, right? And you got two options. Well, they say you got 2 options. You have some WoW in you that could affect this and infect it and possibly kill off the WoW that's like infecting the whole area, like a hive mind thing. So first off, I say fuck this, and I just keep on going forward, and then the guy like, stops me, and then he's like, "Fine, if you don't do it, I'll do it myself." And he like, transports you back, and like, well, this is fucking weird. I think I ended up just doing it anyways, and I found out that there's no real change to the ending no matter what you do. It's more like this is a choice. If you want to do it, you can, and then you can kind of imagine what could have happened. We're not going to give you a definite answer, which I enjoy sometimes. But overall, I mean, I think it was a really good spooky game. I think it did bring up a lot of interesting questions, kind of the same way that like Alien Earth does when it comes to like personalities and being able to put those into a data form and transporting that into another source. And is that still you? I think that's like one of the more interesting parts of this game is dealing with all that psychological parts of it. There was some spooky jump scares here and there. We got them recorded. I got a little like reel put up there. I've been trying to make a YouTube short for it, but for some reason it stops doing the YouTube short and just automatically pushes it to like an actual video. So I got to figure out what we're doing in shorts. But I do have an edited version with a bunch of scares in it. So
they're all pretty good, but the one where there's fish swimming around and turn your camera and see them for the first time was so funny.
Yeah, we got some great clips.
One of my favorite ones,
that and the last Star Wars stream, there's been some good clips.
Yeah, there's been some good clips. My favorite one was like it's at the very beginning of the clip I made, but and all these clips are from Christian when like he's like watching me. So like he'll get one like, oh, gotta put that one down. Like, yep. So one of them is like, I'm going to this table, it has like a rib cage. I'm like, oh, a rib cage. I'm like, that's weird to put that there. And I kind of throw it off. And like I look down, I'm looking over at Teddy or something like that. And the dude pops up right there on the screen, but I'm not looking at the screen. And then I look over and then I freak the fuck out. And I'm like, that's a good one. I like that one. That was a good clip. Yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good game. Just like, Still Wakes the Deep kind of deal as far as like the walking around, not really doing much other than just avoiding the bad guys and continuing on. A lot of really fucked up, depressing shit in this game. Even more so, I think that Still Wakes the Deep. But I think the whole psychological part of it kind of puts it a little bit above that. As far as being more interesting to me in the overall story. I would say probably 4.5 out of 5 as far as a rating. I kind of want to give it a perfect score, but I just feel like there's something... I don't know if it's because they leave things so open-ended that creates that discussion, if that's what I'm disliking, because I kind of want more of like, well, what happened to me when I did infect the WoW? I'm like, okay, well, like all these decisions, you gave me these decisions, but none of them really did anything other than make you think, which is not a bad thing. But I kind of wanted to see what would happen. Like maybe like the very end, it'd be like, Simon that you left there alive, he ended up having a horrible time and this and that. Or you killed a WoW, so Simon ended up fixing some things up with Catherine out there because Catherine was still alive and met up with Simon number 2 in the pressure suit. And they all kind of figured out how to make things work. I wanted to mention that you also did find the real version of Catherine, I guess, or one of the people of the Ark was like the last surviving human, essentially. And you do have a choice. And she asked you, like, hey, could you just end it for me? She's like, I'm sitting here. She's like, I'm on this life support thing. I can't even turn it off now. She's like, so you have the choice to turn it off or not. I chose to turn it off because she asked me, and then she asked you to stay there for a while again. Very depressing, very sad, but very real. And it's very good. So, Soma. I think it's a good, scary game if you also want to have like a little bit of psychological thinking going on behind it too as well. It's not just jump at you, scary, get away. It has a lot more to it with the story. So I think it's really good. It's a great pick. Not a lot of Dark Wire scary. Not a lot of whole Dark Wire scary. I think I'm convincing myself like it's just a game.
I think if it wasn't for me,
because to be fair, because in real life, if you were sitting there at the bottom, you would have been like, "Someone kill me right now."
Yeah,
no, I think
take the head off.
If it wasn't for me giving you an underwater game for spoopy game of like your spoopy game, it would have been a perfect score. But I think
maybe you think that's what it is.
You refuse to give me the satisfaction of admitting it's a great game.
Did I not get Still Wakes the Deep at 5 out of 5? Can't remember.
I don't think so.
I think you might have actually, but
yeah. All I'm gonna say, man, Alex is look.
I'm giving him good scores.
You question it, but it's pretty good.
It is pretty good. Like good games are games, but there are other good games out there. You could have chosen from.
Oh,
I have such a what?
The revisionist history of like that there was so much research and all this other shit done. It was literally like, I know Preston is terrified of the water. Slam dunk. Here's Soma. A game.
No. First of all, Still Wakes the Deep. Remember, I played first and really talked up and gave.
Yes, but that's when you found out that Preston was. You did not know that when you put that game.
Right.
Still Wakes the Deep was a genuine recommendation from you, and then you found out during that game that he was terrified of water, and so you were like, "Oh, word."
No, I did the research where everyone talked about how good this game was, and I double checked, there was a mode, there was like a safety mode on this one, and then I was good with doing this. Now, it just so happened that this was a very good, like, highly rated scary game, and it took place underwater, so it did not hurt my decision, but I did research and read about the game as far as, like, what users say, like, the quality, like, they liked it. I didn't just give you a game and hoped it was good. Like, I picked a good game. You know. Yeah.
Next year I'll be playing Subnautica, I'm sure. It's okay.
We can mix it up next year
game.
if
I
you
don't
want.
think Subnautica's a horror game.
Yeah, that's us.
Survival underwater is horror for Preston.
I'm aware, but I think it's legitimately. I think it's just fucking Minecraft. Like, I don't think it's.
I know it's a little different.
What's funny is I had a couple of games for my video game book club that I was gonna pick. Up in the air. I wasn't sure which one I was going to do, and I was just kind of thinking.
Currently in this moment,
I just found out.
No. I was just like, I think I'm going to do this one, like, because I was talking to Travis the other day. I threw out a couple, but I was like, I think I've decided on this one, and I just realized
Underwater.
that it's yeah,
Cool. Hey, if I really can't handle it, I can always just quit and watch the YouTube video. But I'll play it. It's fine.
I actually think you'll be 100% fine.
Fucking
So
BioShock.
anyway, it just hit me. So
That's funny.
yeah, I can go next. Also, it's not BioShock.
You did the same thing for a while. I'm like, I fucking got it. I fucking nailed that one.
And honestly, I don't want to be mean to BioShock, so.
Well, that you can't, because BioShock 1 is a perfect game, and I could literally, for that one, if we want to do BioShock, we won't even play it. I'll just sit here and I'll just recite to you the dialogue as it happens.
You do that right
We'll
now.
just do it. Yeah,
I think
we'll just do it.
before BioShock Infinite existed, I would agree with you that 1 is a perfect game.
It's BioShock is an interesting place. We'll talk about someday, which is how does BioShock stand up now after playing System Shock, a game that we had never played, after a game we had never played at the time, right when I played BioShock. So that was insightful.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So yeah, I could go next. So my game was Resident Evil 3 remake. The best the best scare for me, these guys missed, unfortunately. I know, listeners, you didn't hear it. So I was streaming it for them whenever I was playing from the comfort of my own home on Discord. They could see it. We did not capture it for all of you lovely viewers out there. But we can talk about it. I don't care to do stuff like that. I don't care to get that set up. We can do it. But yeah, I was streaming for them, and the first jump scare of this game got me real bad, to the point where I paused the game, threw my headset off, started walking around the room, just breathing heavily, cursing them. And then I kept cursing them as I moved through the next 15 minutes and realized that I was on
muted.
mute.
Yeah.
I was muted the whole time. But there were some good jump scares after that. So in my game, you play as a couple people. You start off playing as Jill. You are in Raccoon City. This is... I Googled this one because I wasn't quite sure, because I haven't played any other Resident Evil game. I've played one Silent Hill game, not to completion, but I've never played a Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
So I had to Google a little bit of this one, but this is 24 hours prior to Resident Evil 2. So these games are happening at the same time, essentially, right? Everyone, what I know from Resident Evil is only from the movie. So everyone here in Raccoon City by this point of number 3 is a Zambo. They've all been infected. There's a couple of people left, you, Jill, being one of them. And the Umbrella Corporation has sent a bioweapon to take you out and take out the last couple of security people in Raccoon City. And I would assume, I didn't
people
Google
from the
this
STARS
far,
unit, so
which is the police of the city, right? So
well, I think of it like the SWAT team, because it was okay. Right, because Leon was technically the police. It's just Raccoon City PD, right? But then the STARS unit was the special tactical unit that dealt with Umbrella in the first game.
So I was gonna say, I would assume the reason they're doing this is just for a complete cover-up of what has happened at Raccoon City, right? They don't want anybody fighting against them. They also don't want anything that's good. Yeah. So this game kicks off introducing us to the bad guy Nemesis real quick, which is just a big ass fucking monster that is coming after you and does not want to stop. And that drives a majority of the game. You do meet Carlos, who is the second protagonist. Carlos is more of a paramilitary guy there in Raccoon City. And he's with a couple other paramilitary dudes. And at first, he has his own little group, so he's off doing his side missions, you're doing your side missions, but then you realize one of the two paramilitary guys with him, I think it was Nikolai, right?
Is one of the antagonists.
He's a big old meanie face.
Bad guy.
And then after that happens, your stories between Carlos and Jill kind of intertwine more directly. So, it starts off, you're Jill, you're running around the city, you're trying to figure stuff out. I did not like playing Jill as much as I enjoyed playing Carlos. And it has everything to do with what makes me comfortable and what makes me uncomfortable, right? I don't like zombie games. Hard stop. This is a zombie game. So at least with Carlos, I have a machine gun from like moment one, where Jill gets weapons, but she seems to be a little slower. Like her counterattack is a dodge, where Carlos is like I'm gonna punch you away from me. So you just felt a little bit more of like a force of nature as Carlos, and you got a ton of ammo for his machine gun. So it's a little better. Now, Jill ends up getting a shotgun and a grenade launcher, and that was better because like I could keep things away. But
and a magnum in it, yeah.
Yeah, but initially I liked I liked Jill's story and her acting better, but I liked the gameplay of Carlos a little better. So as Jill, you're exploring the city, plenty of jump scares. Nemesis pops up around the street and chases you all over the place. It all sucks. You get to one part where you find that like in order to progress the story, you have to get to the subway, but to get the subway moving, you have to restore power to the power grid, which has been down. So the first big encounter, quote unquote, of the game comes around this power grid, which is like a maze. It's a goop maze of just goopy stuff, floor to ceiling and walls, with a whole bunch of goop spiders. And this also sucked real bad because like it's kind of zombies, but also spiders, and it's really like two things that don't need to exist together. And then you just add on this like fleshy, goopy maze on top of it while you're running around trying to like flip breakers and restore power. I don't know why somebody thought it was a good idea. I'm sure for some people it works. And like, as something to do, it worked. And as a game back in the 90s, it probably worked. But like, ew. All of it was ew. I did have a funny moment coming out of that. Christian saw this. Travis may have seen it too. So after I do that part, like the first big encounter, and you see like you just restore the power, and it like affects this huge like goopy growth going up into the sky. You come out of that power area, and Nemesis is there. So I turned around and was like, well, fuck you. I'm going to go back to the safe room upstairs. So I got caught in this place where Nemesis would chase me around the factory first floor up the stairs until I would run to the safe room. And then the AI can't go in the safe room. So he would literally he would walk up to the door and go like, mwah, mwah, and turn around and like walk off really slowly. But the AI was so smart that if I walked back outside, he immediately turned around and magnetized back to me and was like, I'm back. So I literally had to restart. Like I just had to reload a save because I broke the game in the sense that like I could not get past because...
Well, so yes and no. So if you would have stayed in the room, he would have walked back to where he spawns from and you would have been able to get out and do it. But Alex was getting back and forth from the door, and then Nemesis ran up on the door, and Alex was like pushing the boundaries, and he's standing at the threshold of the door, being like, "What's up, idiot?" And he fucking punched the shit out of him.
He punched through,
and Alex was like, "Well, now I should." And I told him I was like, "You just need to restart. Like there's no reason to heal yourself, waste the items, go back and wait for him to walk away. You can just restart and be done."
Yeah, I was very save happy in this game, so it was no problem for me to reload a save. Like after I did the power thing, I saved.
210 saves is what you ended at, something like that.
I don't think it was two. It was over 100. It wasn't over 200, but it was like 120 or something. It was a lot. It was a lot. So I dog, I need you to chill is what I need. So you move forward from there, you get to the subway area, you restore power on the subway, and this is where you kind of meet back up with Carlos, and you're like, hey, we need to head to the next little area. In this is where Nikolai shows himself, because I forget specifically the order of events, but like the subway crashes. I think
because of him.
Because of Nikolai, right?
He detaches the car with all of the civilians in it.
That's what it was. You're right.
And gives it to Nemesis.
He gives it to Nemesis. Yes.
Yeah.
All the people we had been working to save up to that point and get on the subway and find a safe zone for, he just gave them all to Nemesis, and then we crashed.
And they got hard.
Yes. Yeah. So we're going back and forth between like Carlos in a police station and Jill running around the city. Interspersed in the story, there's like two or three prior to the final boss, two or three boss fights, but they're all Nemesis boss fights. They take place in different areas. They all have pretty cool scenes that lead up to them. So like one of them, you're running up to the top of a building through like construction like floors that are being built. It's being built, right? So you're running through construction floors, and he's lighting everything on fire, which was like a very cool set piece that you're running away from the fire, the building's catching and going up, and then the fight up top was just a one-on-one with him. There's another one where he's chasing you through the streets. As you're running around to a normal boss fight, that's pretty good. And then the third one was really good because you think through all of this stuff you've done up to this point, you've kind of defeated Nemesis in the sewers. And he comes flying out, jumps out of the water, crashes through this bridge where you think you're safe standing, and then puts you in this dope arena that he's running around like crazy. And it's... I thought the boss fights actually shined. I think it's where the game was at its best. Every time you fought Nemesis, because he's a bioweapon, he has evolved. So there's like something new to it. At one point, he is running around on all fours, kind of like more animalistic. The final one's all bonkers.
So I thought Nuke basically is the final one.
Yeah, so I thought all of that like really shined and was my favorite part of the game. And just handling the boss one-on-one allowed me to focus on one thing. So it's not like, to me, it's not as scary, right? With the zombie fights in the street, zombies could come from any which way. I might dodge one and then one grabs you from behind, or like one's dead on the ground and you walk up and it's all of a sudden not dead. Like, so the boss fights I liked a lot in this game. The general stuff was not as good. But yeah, that's the story as we're going through. We eventually get to the point. There's a couple of shining moment set pieces in the hospital where Jill is incapacitated and Carlos is trying to keep her room safe away from a zombie invasion. The play part was terrible, but the story implication and what was happening was really good. So like I hated it, but it was really good of everything going on. The hospital, I hated the hospital. But like the story stuff going on between like the bio weapons and the virus and all the other stuff and like the audio tapes you get and stuff were really good. So I think it built a really rich story, really rich world. Eventually you find out that underneath the hospital is a huge factory, laboratory where they were building this virus and building a version of Nemesis, or I guess that like bioweapon, if you will.
Yep.
And there's some cool stuff that happens down there. They introduce some really creepy zombies beyond just like the Raccoon City residents. Like these things are the worst down there, but cool implications. And I also thought that the laboratory was a little bit better than the hospital or than the streets because it was clean, it was orderly, there was like more space. And because it's a laboratory, it's not decorated with shit. Right? So like I can clearly see everything when I look down a hallway versus like in a little grocery store, you have stuff knocked over and aisles and like shelves and there's just a lot of debris. So I felt a little safer running around at the end, which I think was kind of the purpose, to just say like, we're directing you to the big story beat, which is the final boss fight. Where
Jill gets Nemesis, a really cool weapon.
Yeah, Nemesis is this gigantic like thing, just like the movie The Thing or The Blob, just like this big old thing with bunches of arms and gross tentacles. He's all fleshy, he's just slapping around, trying to knock you down. But this moment, Jill gets a railgun. It is by far the coolest part in the whole game because the first time, like, you have to shoot these little nodules to stun it, and then you shoot it with it, like, you push in these side things to repower up the railgun, and then you shoot it with a railgun. So you shoot it the first time, free shot, very cool. And then the game's like, nah, you have mechanics to do now. Like, you gotta shoot it and do stuff before you get a second chance.
And Alex had been saving all of his Magnum ammo for this moment.
Yeah. So it was pretty easy to do that part, but I I got to the railgun, and like the normal boss fight is, it's the boss now. You do it like 5 times, because in the other boss fights you had to do everything 3 times, right? Like that's how video games have always been. This game kind of subverted those expectations and really rewarded the player and just said, nah, the second shot, that's it, man. Like, you've done it. Here's your reward. And Jill takes this railgun, walks right up to it, just shoves it in its mouth, and just massive, like, tears a hole, not just through it, but like through the walls, through the building.
And then she says, it's like something like, she's like, next time, take the hint, you bitch, or something like that. And then shoots it. It's so good.
It was very good, but like that was another standout moment because, again, the developers realized, like, we're rewarding our players. You want to see something cool. We're not going to like muddy it by making you do this 5 times or just making it terrible.
I think that there was many moments like this throughout the game, but that moment for me cemented, I was like, Jill is a fucking badass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was really good. So she runs outside. She goes through the hole she kind of created. She runs outside. You find Nikolai up there. Essentially, what has happened up to this point is if they needed to get the antidote to the T virus to the actual military within so many hours, otherwise they were going to nuke the whole city. And Nikolai had gotten the virus by this point. You catch him outside, about to let him catch these hands, and the virus is destroyed, or the antivirus is destroyed.
He crushes it. He drops it, but yeah.
It's like, well, you've screwed us all, and he's like, take me with you, and we'll get this sorted out. Like, give me some. So he's essentially like, I'm Russian. Give me some Bitcoin. I'll go on my way and live wealthy. But like, you guys will get out of here. I'll get out of here. I'll give you some state secrets, and we'll move on. And Jill's like, nah, fam, you can stay here and burn, but we're gonna leave. And that's what happens. They get out. He doesn't. And the city goes up. Fuck him. So, as a whole, if you like Resident Evil games, or if you like action games and zombies don't bother you, this seems to be the most actiony Resident Evil I've witnessed. I think I would rate this pretty high.
Even of all the ones I've played, it definitely is.
I would rate this pretty high. I would say story-wise, what they give you, like the way the game plays out, the pacing is all very, very good. I would give it probably 4 out of 5 or 4.5 out of 5. Like, really, really good Resident Evil game. On Alex's scale of what's a good game, so last year, like, Alien Isolation was like the best game I'm never gonna play again. Like, it was incredible. It was scary.
I think you did give it a 5, actually.
I may have. It was like absolutely fantastic from top to bottom. It was nearly a perfect. It was a perfect horror game. On Alex's scale this year, this is a game I just never want to play again. That's it. Like, hard stop. Like, I don't want to play anything else in the series again. I don't want to touch this game ever again. For me, it was, I mean, I would still rate it high. It was very pretty. It played well. But my blood pressure was up the entire time I was playing this. I told you guys at one point, like, I was sweating through my clothes playing this game. That's enough. That's all I have to say. Like, I never want to play it again. I'll watch it, and I did. I watched some speed runs on it, and that was very cool. And I'm glad I experienced it because I can, like, it's just one more of those genres you get to add to your repertoire of, like, I can speak to this because I've played a piece in it, right? Not just something I've watched, I've experienced it. I never want to experience any part of it. It's anything else. It's, I don't know, it's like beats. Like, I had a beat one time, and I was like, that's gross. I never want to beat again. And this is like that. Like, you look cool in your weird purple color for a vegetable over there, but, like, I don't want to touch you ever again. So yeah, if you like it, 4.5 out of 5 is what I would say. I was not happy that Christian made me play it, and it makes me scared for next year. I will not play a Silent Hill game, so don't do that.
I wouldn't make you do that. and to be fair, I don't think, like, this is, you saw me play most of Silent Hill 2. Resident Evil 3 is much, much different than Silent Hill. Like I said, I didn't know. I knew that there was obviously still spooky parts in here, but you've seen me play all of 4 remake,
Yeah.
all of 8, so you have a solid idea of other entries in the series. And I think you're at least able, from what you watched from those games and then what you played, this one is the most not like traditional horror-y of them all. Like Jill is not like Ethan in that he is and you played a little bit of 7 in VR too. Jill is not like Ethan in that he's like,
because you made me, and that was
I know.
Awful.
But what I mean is that like you know what kind of like not that I like Ethan as a character, but like he's an idiot. Like he is not smart, and by the end of it, he is, to be fair, he's mostly goop. So you know, like whatever. But like Jill is not that, right? Like Jill, and then Leon in 2, which you never watched me play, but in 2, like Leon is a rookie cop who's trying to figure his stuff out, and then 4, he's like a government secret agent. I think if anything, in 4 and in for Jill, like that's probably the closest. But they're not like Jill isn't concerned about like the world around her, like she knows exactly what she's supposed to do. Like there's no questions. It's not her being scared about anything. Like even when Nemesis shows up, Jill's character is not like scared in the traditional sense. Like she's escaping, but like also when she gets to the top of that building, like in the intro, and she just is like, I'm just gonna run this motherfucker over with a car. Like I don't care, and like slams into it and is like, you know, do the whole thing. Like so, and then at the end, you know, with the railgun and everything. So like, it is the most like not horror-y of the Resident Evils for sure.
That's why I said, right, like it, and I think it is true. Like if you like action games, like actiony shooters, and zombies don't bother you, then you would like this. I will say that for me, the biggest difference is the survival aspect. If this was a zombie game, but like a true FPS, like that's fine.
No inventory management, none of that stuff.
It's the survival it's a survival expert, like the survival aspect, because when I had the bullets, we were good to go. Like let's roll. Like I will shoot you all in the face. Let's move on. But this game goes, yeah, but you're not always going to have the bullets. And that's when it became the spoopy problem for me, because it became, now it's like a run and dodge thing, which is scarier than like, I can stay back here, I'll shoot you all. It was a good game. It was a good game. I'm glad that I played it. It was a good pick. It was very pretty. I never want to play another Silent or Resident Evil game again. That's just,
that RE engine is something special.
It's very special.
Yeah, it was good. It was pretty. It was good. I like I said, the boss fights were absolute. Every boss fight. There's one on the top of the building where it's very basic. The first one, you're running around shooting and electrocuting Nemesis. There's the second one, where, like I said, the bridge where it's running around and you're shooting it from the top of a building. That was cool.
There's the trash in the sewers there, like when the
sewers with the acid. Yeah, like all of those were peak standout moments. Very well done. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. Next year we'll figure out something better, because Preston had some good screams. I also had a few screams that I'm glad were not captured on.
I honestly think maybe next year, if we can figure out like a schedule to try to do this, it would be kind of cool if we can do it where we're streaming, but with all 3 of us there. You know what I mean? Like having all 3 cameras up and like doing it like not obviously in person, but
yeah.
We can do it because I feel a little like it is unfair because we laugh at Preston's clips. I had some that were equally bad. I'm glad they weren't picked, but it isn't fair that only Preston gets put up on that.
We can always do it like we do the video game awards. It's pretty straightforward how to do it. So.
Yeah. So there's that.
All right, so then I'll finish up here. So I played. Preston nominated me or wanted me to play Silent Hill 2 Remake, so I went through and played that. This game, from a story perspective, is basically just figuring out what a big piece of shit James is by the end of it. And I don't mean that in like a funny way. I mean like, no, he's a fucking scumbag. But
we had our thoughts about that as we went through it.
Yeah, I found out. So we were wrong about some of that stuff. So I'm gonna get into this. So yeah, so this is like I'm gonna get to the story later, but for the first part, I just want to say, from a design standpoint, like from enemy design to areas to like like everything that makes a horror game outside of the story. This is one of the most like spooky games I've ever played, for sure. I think the only time that I've ever felt as like unsettled at some of the things that I was looking at was when I played the original Outlast, which for those who don't know, the original Outlast is you're in an insane asylum.
Video. That's the night vision one, isn't it?
Where but you're in an insane asylum, which is my nightmare. I would blow my brains out, like just 100%. But and in this game, like there's like the hospital in Silent Hill that you have to go to and deal with all the stuff that's in there, and it has a psych ward in it, and there's all sorts of stuff. It's exactly as scary as you think it would be.
This game got you a couple times too. I've never seen you break on a horror game, but this game got you a couple times.
There was some jumps there that I definitely let out a Jesus Christ a couple times as we were playing. Yeah, for sure. So from that, I loved I like every single zone you go into, and then you go into the upside down version of that. Like I think they call it the other world, but you go into the upside down version of that zone that you're in, and it is just like. I mean, 10 out of 10 design from a design perspective. Like nothing ever felt like, oh, this is cheap, or oh, this is, like whatever. Like it's just, it was just on all cylinders going the whole time, from a design perspective. I thought all the enemies were cool, and on something even like from minute one, right? There's like these body bag creatures that are all like mushy, and you can hear it, and they're just like skirting towards you, and they've got platform boots on for some crazy ass reason, and just this whole thing, and they all look like freaks, and there's the nurses, and then Pyramid Head and everything else. So all the designs for all that stuff was simply fantastic. Story was like you spend the whole game, like I said, you're basically just figuring out it's like the player's journey to figure out what a fucking asshole James is. And it's like, how far does this go? Like, how big of an asshole are you? Because I'm trying to figure this out. Oh, this is the best way to open this.
Good cut.
I think she sees herself in the camera.
I think she does too.
Because the window is right above the camera, right? So like she can see her eyes looking at her. She's like, "What is this?" Amazing. Anyway,
welcome to the Catcast.
Yeah, Christian, that's you, yeah.
Yeah. We've time traveled. Things are looking a little bit different. So we are going to be finishing up. So I apologize if there's a little bit of repeated information here, but we're going to jump to some closing thoughts on Silent Hill 2, and then finish out this little weekly episode here.
Yeah.
Or not weekly episode, but the spooky game thoughts thing. So the main thing that I wanted to pick up from is just some of the final thoughts that we were talking about before on the story side of Silent Hill 2, right? So, I had mentioned before, it was like the whole game is you're basically just trying to figure out what a big piece of shit James is, and like how far is his piece of shitness. And the ending is kind of where some of that story stuff, while I understand what they were going for, it kind of leaves a little bit for me to like, I guess, like, leaves a little bit for me to be desired, I guess is the way that I would say it. But it's like, so, obviously we go through the whole thing with James, you're discovering, throughout the game of like him not really reacting to anything that's going on, and like he's like kind of confused, and you can even tell like when he's talking about, he's like, I genuinely he's like very surprised about not knowing how Mary could still be alive, right? Like he does not understand. And you kind of find out it's like, oh, like it's because he was repressing these memories of all this shit that he's done, but like it's because he murdered her, right? And so, which is what you find out in And like as it's progressing, like, and Alex was watching a lot of this, and Preston, I know you had it up too, but you had us muted. But there's like, as we're going through it, like Alex and I are like going back and forth kind of thinking like, okay, but so we know that he committed this crime, but like also to what extent, like what else did he do, right? Like, and we were trying to figure out like, was Eddie involved? Was potentially Maria involved, or whatever this was? And like as you go through, you kind of figure out like Maria wasn't a Eddie and Angela were both real people, but Maria was not a real person, and Maria is like a like manufactured from his mind. That's like the version of Mary that I think he wishes he had, is like kind of what I gathered from it, where she was like, let's fun, let's party, let's drink and have sex and do whatever, you know, like all the things that he wanted from Mary, but they couldn't because she was sick. And it's not exactly said what she had, but it definitely seemed like it was like cancer, or like a terminal cancer, illness of some kind, that right? Takes
a while, and
so and they play some things back and forth where she basically like there's a part that like sort of it's like a memory like like of an argument they had, where Mary sort of like rips into him and is like, you never fucking show up, you're never here, and then when you do, all we do is fight. Like, you know, you just want to argue with me, you don't even look like you care, like, why are you here, you know, all this other stuff. And so they go back and forth, and then as he sort of like storms out of the room, she's like, you know, wait, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it, you know, blah, blah. And so then the next time that he comes back is, I guess, from what we gather, is like the next time he comes back after that was like 3 months or something, like removed, and he like shows back up, and they like try to talk things out, and she's like super sick, and he just like puts a pillow over her face and just suffocates her as she like falls asleep, I guess, that day or something like that is how it came off. And at the end, the letter, and I actually need to pull this up. So yeah, so in the letter, she says like, I know I've done a terrible thing to you, something you'll never forgive me for, and I wish I could change that, but I can't. And I feel so pathetic and ugly laying here waiting for you, and you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and she's like, the doctor came today and told me that I could come home for a short rest, and that it's basically like my last chance, and you know, to do this or whatever. She's like, but I'm afraid that you don't actually really want me to come home. Whenever you come to see me, I can tell how hard it is for you. I don't know if you hate me or pity me, or maybe I just disgust you, and I'm sorry about that. When I first learned that I was going to die, I just didn't want to accept it. I was so angry all the time, and I struck out at everyone I loved most, especially you, James. That's why I understand if you do hate me, but I want you to know this: I'll always love you. Even though our life together had to end like this, I still wouldn't trade it for the world. You know, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I told the nurse to give this to you after I'm gone, so that means that as you read this, I'm already dead. I can't tell if you remember me, but I can't bear for you to forget me these last few years since I became ill. I'm so sorry for what I did to you, did to us. You've given me so much, and I haven't been able to return a single thing, and that's why I want you to live for yourself, do what's best for you, James. You made me happy. So, this letter for me, like when I was going through this, I was like, okay, like, it's clear that there's probably, they leave some part of this up to your imagination, right? So it's clear that Mary was being probably, like, it seems like verbally shitty to people, as in, like, because she was angry about the illness that she got diagnosed with. And that's, look, I think all of us have been touched by people who have had a terminal illness before. I've certainly seen that. I have certainly seen people get angry at the situation that they're in, which is totally understandable, right? I would be pissed. Like, it doesn't feel good. You're mad. You don't understand why it's happening to you. All sorts of things, right? Like, I get that. But, like, no matter, there's nothing that she could have said, or even, I'll even say done physically, right, that would have warranted James murdering her. And so, like, you get this letter, and the way that I started taking this, and especially now that I've had through this is that it comes off to me as like, well, one, obviously she wrote this before she was murdered. But like, I feel like this letter is less about like, like some people are like, oh, this is like Mary forgiving him or whatever, and it's like I don't think that's what it doesn't come off like that to me. It comes off like this is James sort of like finally accepting what he has done and then being like, okay, all of the memories are back now. Like I remember what I did and blah blah blah. But the part that sort of screws up that thought for me is at the very end when it's like it's Mary, basically. And again, this is all part of his subconscious. It's not actually Mary, but it's his subconscious basically being like, I'm releasing you, like I free you, this whole thing. And I want you to take care of Laura and like, be like, you can adopt her, do whatever, and like this whole thing. And it's like, but no, though, like, I don't even know that there's anything, like, I don't know that you're in a position, because it's sort of James, like, forgiving himself in a way, as in, like, I'm accepting what I've done, and I've processed this now, or whatever the fuck. And it's like, and again, I think I said this earlier in the other episode, but it's like, I am not a Silent Hill lore expert, so there's probably some deep dives that someone's done. So, if I'm wrong about my take on this, then argue with yourself in the comments, as I think what I said, and I still mean that. But like, I don't know that you're in a position to forgive yourself. Like, you did that. And so, like, you're just kind of a piece of shit. I don't even think you're in a position to be able to take care of Laura. And this is kind of what it comes down to, or what I think Preston and I said towards the end of, like, when is that I don't think this game is making a statement on, like, forgiveness or anything else, right? Like, I don't think that this game is trying to make you feel good about James by the end of this. In fact, I think it's intentional that it's not that. I think it's more just like, it is what it is. Like, this is, and based off the thing of Silent Hill, it just feels like Silent Hill happens and people have to figure out, like, whatever it's how your trauma processes itself whenever you're around this crazy ass fucking upside down town, and then that is what it is. Like, that's just what happens. So, like, so my thoughts on it are kind of mixed with that regard, where it's like, from a design standpoint, I think it is one of the coolest and craziest horror games that I've experienced, from just a general, like, art design thing. Like, from that, and from the way that all the, like, the atmosphere, like, everything that's built around it, I'm like, I understand why people love this so much. And even from a story, like, I do understand why the story stuck with a lot of people, only in that, like, I think that it's cool how they let you piece things together, right? Like, because things, like, even Alex and I, like, as we were going through it, there was all these theories that we were having, like, oh, maybe it's this thing, or maybe this connects to this, or maybe this is what's going on here, or whatever, right? And we ended up being right about some, we were wrong about some other ones, but, like, but that was the kind of fun thing, is, like, you're trying to piece all this stuff together. So I understand all that. I just think at the end, like, it feels unsatisfying in a way that when you do everything right, it kind of comes off to me as James being like, I did murder my wife, and that is bad, but I gotta put me first now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't actually say that, but that's kind of how it comes off, where he's like, it's time to let myself live now. And it's like, but you were already doing that. Like,
it's like you didn't really earn it, right? Like, you didn't do anything right, and you're getting out free.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, like, like, you more or less, like, and so you're doing this thing, like, where you're like, oh, it's time for me to let go and move on and do whatever. It's like, but I don't. And again, it's like what I said earlier. It's like, I don't know that you get to decide that. for yourself. Like, you're the one who murdered somebody. So I think you kind of just have to live, like, I don't know. But yeah, so it's a little weird there. But, like, I thought, on that same token, I thought all the other characters were really well done, right? Like, from that kind of, so, like, I love the idea of Maria being this, because the entire time you're like, God, I don't like her. Like, what is going on? And you just realize, like, oh, it's because, you know, that's, like, his idealized version or whatever. And it's like, okay. But then, like, Eddie was this weird character, and you find out that he fucking murdered animals and some people, and, like, was this whole thing, and he's such a big piece of shit. But then, from the other side of it, the character Angela is, like, a truly, like, tragic character who got, like, it seems like sexually assaulted by her dad and, like, some other people, or some, and then, like, her mother blamed her for it, and so she's, like, trying to process through all that stuff, and, like, trying to find, like, you know, for, like, wanting someone to forgive or, like, figure that out, right? And it's like, man, all these characters have something crazy going on, and this is really insane. And then, like, yeah, with James, it just kind of feels like it ends in a way that you're just like, because you get to, I don't know if I brought this up before, but you get to murder Eddie in this game. So Eddie's like, you know, I see you making fun of me, James, so I'm going to fucking kill you like I did all these other people, after he basically explains all of his crimes. And he even says, he's like, you and I, like, you don't get to judge me because you and I are not even that different. And James is like, well, I'm nothing like you. And this is obviously before he remembers that he murdered his wife. It's like, oh yeah, you actually aren't that different from Eddie. Like, you guys both murdered somebody, so whatever. I guess the one thing that you could stand on is that you're like, at least I didn't torture animals, but, like, you know, I don't know, you already killed somebody, so. But, so you get to kill him, and that entire moment I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude, I'll kill this guy, fuck him. But then, like, and with Angela's thing, like, you kind of leave her still looking for her mother to be able to, like, process this kind of thing. And so that one, and she, like, walks into this, like, fiery staircase and just, like, fucks off forever, basically. And you're just like, man, well, that's kind of a bummer. Like, that feels like Angela should get some more closure, but obviously, you know, sometimes that doesn't happen. And then the same thing with James is where it's a difference, where they try to give you closure, I guess, but they're like, and so James went on his way with Laura, and they went, and he's just gonna try to fucking be nicer to himself, I guess. And you're just like, I don't really give a fuck what happens to James at all from that way. So either way, I've had more time to sit on it, think about it, and sort of collect things. And I think where I would actually land on this from a scoring perspective is I think I would land at a 3.5 out of 5. So I definitely think everything that it was obviously, I think it's still definitely worth playing. And who knows, there could be other things maybe I'm thinking about something wrong, and who knows, but because I know that there's an ending where, honestly, it's what is quote unquote the bad ending, but there is an ending where Mary, I guess, is basically like, go fuck yourself. Like, how about that? Like that, and I'm like, that's actually the ending that I would have wanted for James, is him being like, oh, I guess I am a piece of shit. It's like, yeah, you are a piece of shit. Like, I don't know. But either way, but yeah, so I would probably land on a 3.5. I still think it's worth playing. I think outside of some of the ending stuff with the story, and then the Pyramid Head letdown, for me, I think that everything else about this game, from a spookiness perspective, designs, all the encounters, even the puzzles, like, I thought the puzzles were really cool. All of that I thought was, I mean, just as good as any other game that I've played in the genre. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it sounds like it's,
with all that stuff,
it's hitting the marks for you, except for the fact that what it actually wants to do, which is have that depressing, shitty feeling, that's just not your bag. For people who like that kind of stuff, obviously their score's going to go up, because, like, oh, I kind of like this. You know, I enjoy this type of story writing, stuff like that. But you're like, no, this guy shouldn't get any closure. This guy's a piece of shit. There's something should have bad happened at the end. Like, he shouldn't be able to just walk off and just be like, okay, I understand what this all means now. I'm gonna go live my life. It's like, no, do you deserve that though? Like, should you be feeling okay when you walk away? So that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. So, like, this is the thing, right? So this is the. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll just talk about that since we're talking about it. But so in the Leave ending, which is the one that I got, I believe, which is James
leave as in, like, you were able to leave
Silent Hill, right? And he says that James confesses his resentment towards Mary for her illness and the burden it placed on him, which is, he says that is, and then he goes, I admit that I killed you so that we could both be free from this. But I regret it at the same time. And he goes, sensing his regret, Mary forgives him, giving her the real life final letter in which she tells him that he made her happy and encourages him to live. This ending suggests a form of reconciliation and forgiveness, with Mary's final words being a gentle judgment that allows James to move forward. So that is actually, so then, in my opinion, that kind of, I'm fine with like the score, because for me, I'm like, I don't know that it doesn't make any, to Alex's point, it doesn't feel like you earned anything. Like,
right.
I understand you saying, like, I understand from that perspective, her being like, or him being like, I did this to free us both or whatever. It's like, well, you don't get to decide that for me. Like, but whatever. Either way. I guess there's the in-water ending, though, which is that James is unable to overcome his guilt and drives himself into the lake and goes. And I'm like, well, that one would have been fine. In the Maria ending, I guess, I didn't know that this was even a thing that you could do, but in the Maria ending, James chooses Maria over Mary and then leaves with her, but then as they're leaving, Maria starts to cough, and it's implying that she inherited Mary's illness or something like that. And he makes inherited her cancer. Yeah, and he makes a shitty comment about it, I guess. But then it was which probably
ugh, not again. Now I'm going to have to think up another woman to do all the things you won't do because you're sick and dying.
Yeah. But then it's like, so then it goes though, and it's like, the whole thing is apparently supposed to be a giant mystery, where it's like, obviously that's not really Mary talking to him. And so it makes it feel like in the leave ending that it's more of a, it's his internal resolution or whatever. And again, that's kind of my problem with that, is that even if that was, either way, I still think that that's kind of like a bad way to try to resolve that thing. But in general, I figured I could toss that stuff in there. But yeah, I think that's where I'm at on it.
Okay. All right. Nice. Well, those are our spoopy games for October. Until I make Preston play Alan Wake 2 as our next video game book club. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I wouldn't. Those are spoopy I'd do it.
It's a good game. We're not going to play that. Not this time around, but it is a good game. So thank you for hanging out with us. Don't forget to check in later this week as we do part 4 of Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. We're going to be finishing that one up. And then part 5. Part 5?
Part 5.
Of Guns of the Patriots. Okay. Is it? Yeah, it is. You're right. Part 5, my bad. Okay. Thank you for the correction there. But yeah, we'll be finishing that one up and then announcing what comes next. So thank you for hanging out, everybody. And we will catch you next time. With that, Preston, you know what to do.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or to check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcast. If watching is more your thing, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/@thetestingroom, or watch us live on twitch.tv/testingroomlive. To leave comments or ask questions, you can follow us on Instagram @testingroompod, leave a comment on YouTube, or send them in to testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.